This is an exclusive excerpt from the Stuph File Program with Peter Anthony Holder.
If you need your gardening done in a hurry, then mechanic Dylan Phillips is your man to call. In June, he set a Guinness World Record for the fastest wheelbarrow after he clocked speeds of 84 kilometers per hour or 52 miles per hour during Straightliners Speed Week 2024 at Elvington Airfield in Yorkshire, in the UK. Dylan joins us via Zoom right now from Pembrokeshire in the United Kingdom. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Peter. How are you?
Just tickety-boo. Thanks very much for being on the program with us. So I saw this story back in June, and I saw pictures of you racing around in this wheelbarrow. So the obvious first question is, first of all, kudos to you for the Guinness Book of Records, but why? How did this come about?
Well, it was initially built as a fun project. I had no idea about Guinness World Records or land speed records or anything like that when I first started this thing. It was built entirely for fun. And I went to a builder's merchant, bought myself a wheelbarrow, and I had a scrap scooter and ended up throwing things together and had a quick go on it and managed to get speeds of about 37 miles an hour. And that's when the question was asked by a couple of friends, was there a Guinness World Record for the world's fastest motorized wheelbarrow? And turns out there was. So that's where we went with it.
Okay, so again, I go back to the initial question. You're a mechanic. Have you ever thought of doing something like this, either with a wheelbarrow or other motorized situations besides this? Or was this just an aha moment for you, where you woke up one day and said, this is what I'm going to do?
Well, I hope no one wakes up thinking I'm going to strap an engine to a wheelbarrow. But it was. I've always built slightly mad things. I've got a custom motorbike with a cement mixer engine on it, which was built a couple of years ago. That gets a fair bit of attention. And then, it's just one of those things with the wheelbarrow where this idea sort of came to me and then grew and grew. And eventually you can't let an idea like that go, can you? You have to follow it through.
Now, I've seen pictures, as I said, of you on this wheelbarrow, and I'm just wondering, are you in complete control of this, or are you just literally holding on for dear life?
I would like to say I've got some control over it. It's not too bad under power. When you're going along with it, when you're actually doing the speed runs, it's not too bad. It's fairly stable. It's front wheel drive, so it just drags you along basically. But the problem comes when you try and slow it down. You've only got brakes on the front, and it does get a little bit wobbly. So it's definitely interesting. The fastest run that I had was 56 miles an hour out of the two runs that you have to do to get the average speed, and slowing down from 56 was quite interesting, we'll put it that way.
Okay, so how long of a distance do you figure you had to slow this thing down to finally come to a stop?
Well, luckily, with Straightliners Speed Week being designed for people who are doing well over 200 miles an hour, you've got a mile and a half to slow down. So slowing down from 56 is, you can slow down as slowly as you want, really. Then basically that's what you do, is you just coast to a stop rather than trying to bring it to a stop quickly.
Okay, so between the time period when you first did, 30 some odd miles per hour, and your friends decided to asked, what's the fastest? Between that time and the time you actually completed the record, what was the process for you to, A, get the wheelbarrow up to speed, and B, contact the folks at Guinness to see if this could be an entry?
So it actually, the process itself took about 2 years from me thinking, oh yeah, why don't we go for this record, and then me actually doing it. But a lot of that was work, real life, money, all of those things get in the way. So you have to prioritize things. But basically, to run with the Straightliners Club, anything that you build has to meet a certain safety requirement. So the wheelbarrow had to go back into the workshop and be basically just checked over, rebuilt. Anything that wasn't up to their safety specs had to be rebuilt to their safety specs. There's a lot of lock wiring, there's a lot of safety paint marks and that sort of thing, just so that the scrutineers can check that everything is tight, everything is as safe as it can be on a motorized wheelbarrow. And from there, it was a case of once I knew that they were happy with the design, I had to make sure that Guinness were happy with the design, that it was still a wheelbarrow in Guinness's eyes. And then you make your attempt and you send all of that evidence off to Guinness, who then decide whether you get the record or not.
Now that you have the record, are you considering the idea of trying to beat your own record, or are you thinking of other things to motorize?
Well, I'm quite happy at the moment just to sit on this and ride this wave for as long as it carries me. It's been a really nice opportunity. I've been invited to some really nice events like Prescott Bike Festival and a couple of other charity events. So it's been really nice just to get out there, see people, raise some, help raise money for some really good causes, and then just get out and see a bit of the country from what was a really idiotic project. Let's face it. I don't think I would try and beat my own record. I would be perfectly happy, though. I would be over the moon if someone broke my record, because that's when I think it would be nice to, maybe revisit the project and see whether we could get something else out of it.
I said you were a mechanic. Were you one of those kids who always tinkered?
Oh, definitely. It was all Meccano and Lego Technic, and maybe I should take this opportunity to apologise to my parents for taking apart the cordless phone and then not being able to put it back together. It's just one of those, I've always been into stuff that works and stuff that moves, and it doesn't really matter what it is, whether it's tractors or cars or bikes or wheelbarrows now, obviously. It's just anything mechanical, really.
What is your particular discipline as a mechanic? What do you do on a day-to-day basis as a job?
It's trailer mechanics mainly. I've got my own business doing trailer mechanics, and so it's trailer servicing and repairs. But then a good half of my workshop, I would say, is dedicated to my own little projects and my own stuff. So I try and get that work-life balance going.
You mentioned apologizing to your parents about taking apart the phone. When family members come to you and you say, I'm going to do this wheelbarrow, this motorized wheelbarrow, do they just simply think, oh, well, this is a great idea, Dylan? Or is it another case of, oh, Dylan's at it again?
I think it's definitely the latter. It's just there's a bit of eye rolling goes on, and it's like, oh, he's on one, basically. So yeah, that's it's to be fair, my family are very supportive of all of the nonsense that I get up to. So, and I'd like to thank all of them for helping me to realize this and actually being supportive of what is, let's face it, something quite stupid.
I'll say, okay, so besides taking apart the phone as a child and also this wheelbarrow, what have you done on your own in between that? Any kind of wacky, crazy things that you created?
Well, I've done a lot of restoration work and that sort of thing. And it's, as I say, the project before the wheelbarrow was a custom motorbike with a cement mixer engine in it, which that was one that was built just because I had an engine lying around and I had some bits lying around. So it's always nice to just build stuff with what you've got. And then I think this sort of project always it can bring together all of the skills that you've got. There's a lot of problem solving involved. There's a lot of the welding, the painting, all of the engineering that goes into it. It doesn't really matter what the project is, so long as I'm doing what I feel is a fairly tidy job of it. I'm quite happy, really.
So you're the mechanical version of MacGyver.
Well, I think MacGyver would be better in a crisis than I am, to be honest. I mean, he can make I need a good scrap pile to get something going, whereas he can just, knock some rocks together and make do. So I reckon MacGyver's your man, but if MacGyver's busy or something, you could possibly give me a call. We'll see.
Now, I'm all the way here in Canada. You're in the UK. What kind of international media attention have you garnered since you did this back in June?
Well, when the news story broke on the BBC, it's really I had phone calls from all directions for a couple of days, and it was a bit surreal, really. I never expected it to blow up into what it did. The furthest away I've had was there was a quiz show in Australia wanted me to pre-record a little video question and answer, and then there's been a fair bit of interest from the US because the US has got quite a good following of mechanical nonsense, racing things that shouldn't be raced and that sort of thing. And basically, if it makes a noise, they love it. So yeah, the US has been really supportive, and then it's just amazing to see how popular this thing was. And I think there's a lot of bad news going around at the moment, and to have something which is completely out of the ordinary, completely just nonsense, that's what people need sometimes.
Absolutely. And congratulations on your record. May it last forever. And if it doesn't, you'll beat it again, I'm sure. Dylan, thank you very, very much for taking the time to be on the program with us. It's much appreciated.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Peter.
Mechanic Dylan Phillips, who holds the Guinness World Record for the fastest wheelbarrow in the world. You're listening to the Stuph File Program with me, Peter Anthony Holden.
You've just heard an exclusive excerpt from the Stuph File Program with Peter Anthony Holder. To hear any or all of the full hour-long shows, visit thestufffile.com. Stuph is spelled S-T-U-P-H. That's thestufffile.com. A presentation of Flying Fish Communications.